Hi everyone, I'm just stopping by really quickly while I'm making dinner, just to do a quick teach-in on what we learned today on Musk Twitter, because there's some major news, and I just wanted to explain some of the things that we talked about last night and put them into perspective of what we've already learned today. So this is what most of the people around town know me to look like. This is what I'm usually like during the day. Okay, so I also figured out how to turn the screen. So now you're gonna be able to actually see things the right way. Thank you for all your help with that last night. Okay, so major news today. Okay, this is something we talked about. One of the red flags would be that if Apple or Google Play pulled down Twitter or said they would pull down Twitter, that was one of the major red flags. Okay, so while it hasn't actually happened yet, not only is Apple saying that they won't allow Twitter subscriptions, they are potentially saying they are going to pull down the app entirely. So what that means is if you are on Twitter and you have an iPhone, like Elon Musk, according to his tweet, he was tweeting from his iPhone, you will still have it since you've already downloaded it. But if there are any updates in the future, you will not be able to get those through the Apple Store. So this is a major development. In addition, Apple, according to Elon Musk in his rants, has stopped advertising on Twitter. That was, according to Washington Post reporting, 4% of revenues for this company. Okay, so we're just going to go through this really quickly, and then I'm going to tell you why it matters and just talk through it really quickly. Okay, so this was from our teach-in last night. Okay. Before, this is the capital structure before. 5.1 billion of revenue, and the company was still losing before Musk took over. It was losing 221 million. Okay, now as Musk takes over, the company, the last public quarter we had, the run rate, this company is making about 4.8 billion when Musk took over. But, excuse me, this is backwards, so I have to get used to it. Of that 4.8 billion, we know that 4.5 billion was ad revenue. And since we discussed this last night, we've already lost 750 million of that, with 50 of the top 100 advertisers pulling out, another 255 million with others who haven't fully pulled out but are slowing. And now we learn an additional 4% of revenue gone from Apple. Okay, so last night we said about 3.8 billion. Now you got to cut that by another 4%, and whoever else out of advertising has left since Musk did his Ollie income free and has gone completely nutso on Twitter today, having complete meltdown. So roughly 3.8, maybe we're down to even 3.6 billion of revenue. And then we talked about this bank debt, the 13 billion of bank debt that he has to pay 1 billion of interest on. 3.6, 1 billion, not much left. Don't forget, before he owned it, this was a 5.1 billion company and it was still losing money. And it only had 23 million of interest to pay. Now we have 1 billion of interest to pay. So, okay, start there. Now, why I really wanted to talk to you all. Okay, the capital structure. We talked about this last night. The company, he paid 44 billion for this company. At the time he bought it, as the deal closed, remember he committed to pay 44 billion in April, then everything in tech traded down. At the time he closed it, it was worth somewhere in the range of 20 to 25 billion. Okay, remember that? This is a month ago. So to finance the deal, he paid, there was 13 billion, of bank loans. And then the rest, this 31 billion, was held by Musk and others. Now remember what we learned last night. The 13 billion has to come out completely whole before Musk's investment is worth anything. The company at the time he closed was worth 20 to 25 billion. But since then, we've gone from 4.8 billion and we've already lost 1 billion of revenue. So this company is worth much less. Okay, so bear with me. There's 13 billion of bank loans. The banks were forced to close on it, just like Musk, even though they knew they were going to be slightly underwater. At the time the deal closed, it was not syndicated. 6 banks hold it. They weren't able to sell it down as the way they normally would. They already were at a loss. They were already booking it at a loss, according to the Wall Street Journal, a $500 million loss. Since then, the company has gone, we just talked about, lost $1 billion at least of revenue in advertising. So now this bank debt, this 13 billion, is probably around what this company is worth. Again, it was worth 20 to 25 billion before Twitter became Musk Twitter, and Musk has completely gone like bonko. We've talked about the issues with technology. We've talked about his the personal things that he's doing. He's calling advertisers and yelling at them. He's posting pictures today of Pepe the Frog and his side table with guns. Technology aside, what advertisers are going to want to advertise on this platform? And it's 90% of this company's revenue. And he can't get additional revenue from verified if he can't sell those on the app stores. So this 13 billion could well be the ownership of the company. The 13 billion has to get paid out in total, before any of the other 27 billion owned by Musk and 4 billion owned, if any of this 31 billion is worth anything. So what do I think is happening? I've told you that I think that vulture funds are probably making bids to Musk now, and maybe one day he'll just wake up and say, okay, enough of this. This game is over, I'm done. They're probably making discount bids to him. But the other thing, because this company is worth so little now, vulture investors, and this is what I used to do for a living, trade debt, once it becomes like underneath 15 billion, again, the banks essentially own this company, but the banks don't really want to own a company like this. So what they will tend to do is sell it to investors. And probably investors are bidding for this 13 billion bank debt. Maybe they'll bid 80 cents on the dollar. Maybe they'll bid 90 cents. I have no idea, but those discussions are ongoing. If those investors take control of this bank loan, there will be covenants on this loan that, given what is happening at Twitter, it's not public information what the covenants are because it's a private company. They could well be tripping, Musk could well be tripping these covenants, which would give whoever owns this bank debt the ability to start to give what essentially are notices of call, to start to say, you need to remedy this or you're in default. And once you're in default, you can start to take steps to collect. Which means, what could happen to this company? One, this company is burning through cash. I mean, the only argument I've seen for this company not going bankrupt, today there was an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that I posted where a woman posited that because Musk's ego is so big and there's so many unsophisticated investors that revere him, that he'll keep pumping in money to keep this company alive. That might be true. He might continue to sell Tesla stock and continue to fund a losing operation because of his ego. That might happen. But what might also happen is that these bank loans might start to essentially foreclose on the company, even if he doesn't go bankrupt or pay them out in some way and try to buy them himself. People could buy this company by buying the bank loans, and that could be happening right now, given how dire things are. In other words, if you were trying to buy this company and it was worth 20 billion, buying the bank debt wouldn't accomplish it. If this company is worth 13 billion or less, by buying the bank loans, you are buying control of this company. So that is super important. And I just wanted to share that with you tonight as something really important to watch, because when people ask, and I keep telling you, just be patient. We don't need to be on this platform. So many of you are having weird occurrences. I haven't confirmed this with a major news source, but I have seen some reporting by like the Daily Mail and others that 5.4 million accounts are already out there on the dark web, that they've already hacked account information about a lot of us. So again, if you did have a Twitter account, get your information off of it. Any personal information you have, If you can go and check for yourself, this is something I've been tracking. The technology is already starting to slow down on Twitter. If you do a search function and you look at what's trending and you hit the trend, it used to go straight to the top tweets. Now there's a little wheel up top. Watch that wheel. The first couple of weeks, it took about half a spin and then you would see all the top tweets. Now when I do it today, it's 1 to 2 full spins, which is what the engineers warned us about, that things would start to break and it wouldn't be publicly visible. But if there weren't engineering teams that needed to maintain the code, that things would slowly start to break down. And that is also happening as well. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but I just wanted to talk to you all because things are breaking down very quickly. I'll take 1 or 2 questions and then I got to go finish making dinner. If anyone has a question, you can put it in comments. I'll take 1 or 2 questions. Warnock, yes. Yeah, I mean, this is purely an ego play. The whole thing has always been an ego play. And, you know, there's an NPR, if you want to, I'll post it here, NPR interview of Kara Switzer, who has been like a supporter of Musk's, who basically said, don't think all these smart guys, because they have a lot of money, are smart guys. What he is doing with his company, who knows? And she said even she personally, she had posted about the shooting in Colorado. She, like myself, is LGBTQ. And people told her to kill herself because she was LGBTQ. And so she has stopped going to Twitter. So there's no need to go there and be abused. Just like hang out, hang here for now, let things play out. Hopefully the new owner, whoever that is going to learn from these mistakes. And that's the only way this company is going to survive. Why did he buy Twitter? Because in April, it kind of made sense to buy it for $44 billion, and it was an ego thing, just like Yi buying Parler. It was like an authoritarian kind of move. And then he was forced to close, even though the company was worth half of this. I don't believe he has any grand plan. As you can see, here we are a month in. Stephen King trolled at him that the only advertiser soon to be left was My Pillow guy. And Musk's response was, well, what do you think I should do? Okay, so if anyone thinks this guy has a grand plan that's gonna, revive Twitter beyond what it is, when all the advertisers, which were 90% of this company's revenue, are going, good luck. Don't forget, guys, team vote Warnock, and I'll keep you posted. Have a good night.